Hi everyone, my name is Philip and this is McKeen on Data. So today I just wanted to talk to you about a very powerful little formula that is important within the context of budgeting, forecasting, and it's called Goal Seek. So just under the data ribbon, what if analysis, Goal Seek. And it's very simple, it's very intuitive, and it helps you assess things like break-even points and in the context of, say, transportation forecasting, right? We can check what our optimal, uh, given our budget of 500,000 and we want to break even, we can play around with things like our load count. We can play around with things like our cost per load, and we can do this very quickly with little to no heavy lifting. Okay, so orient you with the formula here first. So this is just a fixed number. This is our budget. This is whatever. This can be 65. This can be 35. It really doesn't matter, as you'll see. Same with cost per load. This can be anything. And we've got our forecasted total cost. So this is basically multiplying whatever we select for cost per load and our count of loads. And then this final formula basically takes our budget, subtracts out our total projected cost, and gives us our gain or our loss. Okay, so let's say we know we're going to be doing some trucking, and let's say for the first step here, we're firm that we are going to have 50 loads. Okay, we don't know what the price is going to be yet. We still have to talk to our vendors, but it could be 8,000, could be 9,000, could be 7,000, but we know our load count is 50. Okay, so let's run our goal seek to see ultimately what our upper threshold is in terms of cost per load before we would start to bleed negative. So again, you go into the data ribbon, what if analysis, goal seek, and here set cell. So we want to set the break even cell here, which has to have a formulaic basis, right? It can't be a fixed number, right? So G11, we're going to set it to 0 because we're checking our break even point, and we are going to basically arrive at 0 by changing our cost per load. Hit OK. Now what does this tell us? Well, it tells us that with a budget of 500,000 and a fixed projected load count of 50, we could have a cost per load as high as $10,000 and still break even, right? So we know now that if the load count doesn't change, we can pay our vendors $10,000 per load and still break even. So very helpful threshold checking before going into something like a negotiation with these third parties. Or again, if you're firming up the budget, right? This is the kind of quick analysis that you can play with something like GoalSeek. Now let's do it again where just play around with it here, 36, 8,000. Now this time we know our cost per load is 8,000, but we don't know what our load count is going to be. It might be 50, it might be 75, might be 40. Okay, so let's run the analysis again, only this time we're going to still set the break-even cell to 0. And instead of changing our cost per load, because this time we know it's fixed, it's 8,000, we're going to do so by changing our load count. So what does this tell us? It tells us that with a budget of 500,000 and a fixed cost per load of 8,000, we could have 62.5 loads and still break even. Right? So this is just a very simplified version of how complex this little tool can be. But I think it's a start. So if this is the kind of work you do, if you don't already use it, I suggest you get on it right away and see what it can do for you. But that is all for now. I appreciate your time. Until next time.